Greetings everyone. So the World Cup is almost upon us, and with the World Cup being so close now, there's one thing that must be discussed. How can we as people support the
LGBT, the community?
That is one of the main topics being brought up. The World Cup this year is taking place at an unusual time. It's going to begin in November, the second half of November, and it's going to run through until almost Christmas time in December. And it was given to Qatar to host the World Cup. Now, Qatar doesn't really have any football history, so it didn't really make any sense to give it to them and have the World Cup played for the first time ever in November and December. Normally gets played in the summertime. But of course, Qatar did offer FIFA a heck of a lot of money, and so FIFA naturally took the money, because why wouldn't they, and gave the World Cup to Qatar. Now, of course, the problem with Qatar, probably the biggest problem, the main cardinal sin in the secular world, is that Qatar isn't pro-LGBTQ+. And so some of the countries that will be participating in the World Cup have decided that they want to make a statement. And the captains of some of those countries, being spearheaded, I think, by England, who seem to be the most keen to do it, shall be wearing pride armbands, because captains normally wear an armband anyway. And that will be the way that they fight back and show their support and show that they're allies to the LGBTQ plus community. If we take a little look here, now not every country is keen on doing this. For instance, the captain of the Serbian team won't be wearing the rainbow armband at the World Cup. We can have a little read through this article here. The Secretary General of the Football Association of Serbia, the FSS, Jovan Surbatovic, confirmed that the Eagles at Serbia will not join the aforementioned initiative, and then explained this decision of the umbrella organization of Serbian football. It is true that we received a request to join the initiative, so already that means that there are requests being sent to every country. Please join us in this initiative to support LGBT rights. Please, can your captains wear the LGBT armband? So he says they received a request to join the initiative, and we did not respond positively to it because we are focused on football. Anything that could ignite any kind of provocation among our public and fans, or that can be understood as a form of politicization, is not acceptable to us. Good. It then says he added that the FSS respects the right to freely express opinions, but they do not want to participate in matters that have nothing to do with football. We maintain a purely sporting and politically neutral position. We expressed that position at the meeting in Doha when various ideas were initiated. We are always in favor of universal messages like stop war and peace, but the issue of the rainbow ribbon is very sensitive and unnecessary for our society. We are only focused on football. Among our fans, there are members of various social groups and religious communities. We respect the right to free expression of each individual's views, but we repeat, these topics are not suitable for football and stadiums are not the place for such things. This is the position of the FSS. So that's basically a very diplomatic way of him saying, look, we're a Christian country, we're not taking part in this nonsense. It says, in addition to Serbia, Croatia, Portugal, Spain, and Poland, at least those countries, I suspect there are going to be more, will not participate in the One Love campaign from Europe. So it's now being called One Love. I remember it being called very recently Love is Love, and now it's been called One Love. So they like to keep changing these slogans, make it as short as possible and make it sound, positive. Because love is love and one love, they just sound like positive things, don't they? So that's that. But England, I know there's a list of countries that have agreed to take part in this initiative. I think there are about 12 of them. And it's funny because do you remember, for those of you who do, when this whole, I suppose it wasn't even a movement back then, but decades ago, people, who considered themselves to be LGBT were saying, look, we just want to be left alone. Just let us be who we are. Please don't discriminate us, and we just want to get on with our lives and not be, not have any prejudice directed towards us. how quickly that has morphed into you must agree with this and accept it as normal, otherwise you shall be fired or cancelled or both. For those who say, you know what, I don't want to get into this ideological debate or any political discussion or anything like that. I just want to watch my sports games or, watch some TV. It's in that as well. Like, you can't get away from it. I mean, who would have thought some time ago that this would be in sport, that ideological movements would be pushed in sport? But that is exactly what is happening. There is actually a whole initiative in the English Football League, the English Premier League, called the Rainbow Laces Initiative. This is something that was started about 10 years ago, and it basically means that for a few weeks in every season, players wear rainbow laces on their boots to show their support for the LGBT movement. Here is a little article on this just recently. EPL teams to wear rainbow laces, but we still need openly gay players. Now in its 9th year, Rainbow Laces has increased awareness of LGBTQ people in sports in Britain. Players from the English Premier League will wear rainbow laces during games the next 2 weekends to highlight the need for LGBTQ inclusion in the sport. So as I'm filming this, it's already been happening this weekend. What's still missing, however, is an openly gay player at the highest level of English soccer. I almost don't want to read through this. The Rainbow Laces campaign has gotten support not only from the EPL, but blah, 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 blah. This is a message actually from the EPL, by the way, from the English Premier League. The Premier League and all 20 clubs will be demonstrating their ongoing support for LGBTQ plus inclusion by celebrating Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign over the next 2 match rounds. So this was set up by Stonewall. All Premier League fixtures between the 22nd and 30th of October, if you're still watching in that period or after, it's already happened, whenever you're watching, will be dedicated to Rainbow Laces. Campaign support will be visible at every stadium, and clubs will be demonstrating that football is everyone's game in a variety of ways. By the way, no one ever said that you can't watch football based on your sexuality. They're almost making it like this was illegal to do. You couldn't take part in it, you couldn't watch it, and we're going to allow people to watch it no matter what their sexuality. Rainbow-themed captain's armbands will be worn, while ball plinths, handshake boards, and LED perimeter boards will also highlight important messages, those being, of course, pro-LGBTQ messages. This year, the Premier League is encouraging fans to play their parts by holding conversations about what we can all do to support the LGBTQ movement, LGBTQ people, and help create environments where everyone feels welcome. The league and clubs will highlight their year-round commitment to equality and inclusion, using their platforms to provoke discussion and demonstrate allyship. A range of content will be published with men's and women's players and LGBTQ plus supporters groups, as well as highlighting the work conducted within communities to promote inclusion, and so on and so on. Here's what they look like, the rainbow laces. And the thing is, I mean, this is the Premier League saying this is what we expect of our clubs. Now, there have been issues, Here's one example of an issue. Idrissa Gueye, ironically named, PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, it's a club in France. He was asked to explain himself after he basically did not agree to play in a match, and people accused him of homophobia because the reason for why he didn't want to play in that match was because his club during that match were wearing rainbow-coloured numbers on their backs. And he said, no, he doesn't want to take part in this. I mean, the official reason given at the time was that it was for personal reasons, but it came out that that was the reason. So here's the story there. Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Idrissa Gueye has been ordered by the French Football Federation's ethics board, this was from a few months ago, to answer accusations he missed a game to avoid wearing a rainbow jersey in support of the LGBTQ. This is so hard to say sometimes, over and over. In support of the LGBTQI plus movement. So here we've got an I. The Senegal international was absent for Saturday's 4-0 win over Montpellier in Ligue 1 for personal reasons rather than injury, according to the coach. Gay must issue a public apology or say the rumours he refused to take part in French football's fight against homophobia are unfounded, according to a letter seen Wednesday by AFP addressed to the player. He also missed a match last year on a day dedicated to raising awareness against discrimination. This absence against Montpellier is very widely interpreted as a refusal to participate, wrote the FFF's ethics board. One of two things: either the hypotheses are unfounded and we invite you to immediately express yourself in order to silence these rumours, the letter continued, or the rumours are true. In this case, we ask you to be aware of the impact of your actions and the very serious error committed. So they're essentially saying, you must play in that game. You must wear a number that's LGBT coloured. I mean, it's coloured. It's multicoloured, right? It's the colour of the rainbow, I suppose. It's that symbol itself had nothing to do with this, but it's been turned into it. But they're saying a very serious error was committed. So you either admit that you committed a very serious error by refusing to promote this ideology, or you explain that that wasn't the reason you didn't play the match, and that will be fine. It goes on, in refusing to take part in this collective initiative, you are validating discriminatory behaviour, and not only against the LGBTQI+ community. Gay on Tuesday received the support of Senegal's President Macky Sall, or Saul. I support Idrissa Gana Gay. His religious beliefs must be respected, he wrote on Twitter. By the way, Idrissa Gay is a Muslim. He's not a Christian, but in the Islamic faith, this also is something that people generally do not wish to promote. He was backed later on by two other Senegalese players. Cheikhou Kouyaté calls Idrissa Gay a real man after he refused LGBT shirt. Idrissa Gay sparked outrage. This is again the same story this week. That was a few months ago. After allegedly refusing to wear PSG LGBT-inspired shirt against Montpellier. And it appears he has support from Senegal teammates Cheikhou Kouyaté and Ismaïla Sarr. Now, Kouyaté, who at that time played for a club in England called Crystal Palace, did say that, Idrissa Gay absolutely has the right to refuse to wear that shirt. His manager, Patrick Vieira, was then asked during a press conference about this incident. I'm going to play you a little bit of that.
One of my colleagues had spoken to PSG, and that is the reason why he didn't play the game. So is it something you'll speak to Cheikhou about?
If this is the case, yes, I will speak to Cheikhou about it, yeah.
Okay. And in terms of, would that be education or just an in-house conversation?
No, it's going to be an in-house conversation.
So the reporter there was basically saying that it was confirmed that that was the reason Cheikhou Kouyaté said he was supporting Idrissa Gay, I suppose, for his stance against wearing this pro-LGBT shirt. And he asked the manager, okay, so are you going to have a chat with him about this? He says, yes, if that's the reason, he'll have a chat with him. And then he says, well, is this going to be an educational chat? I.e., are you basically going to tell him that this is unacceptable to support someone who refuses to wear a shirt promoting LGBTQ issues? Or are you just going to have a little in-house chat with him? And the manager diplomatically says it's going to be an in-house chat. I don't think Patrick Vieira was going to be giving a lesson on how we must be allies to the LGBTQ community to Cheikhou Kouyaté, who, by the way, that summer, just a couple of months later, did leave the club. I don't know if this stance he had supporting his colleague from the Senegal team was the reason, but he did leave the club. The club didn't want him anymore. I'm just going to give one more example of another incident that again sparked outrage. So here's a clip of another player. He's called Jamie Vardy. He's a striker in England, plays for a club called Leicester City. And here's a goal he scored, and then here's the way he celebrated. So a meme was kind of created out of that, but basically he scored a winning goal right at the end of a match, and then he ran over to the corner flag, and that was during, I think, the Rainbow Laces period of the season where they had LGBT coloured corner flags, and he slid right into the corner flag and just destroyed it. And then a lot of people were sort of clapping him and saying, good for you, this is all nonsense, we don't want this in football, this is all ideological stuff, we just want kept out of the game. But then even he ended up backing down very quickly. I'm sure that he was given a talking to, and then not long after that incident, we had Vardy shows support for LGBT fans with message on rainbow corner flag, and basically what it was that he wrote a little message supporting the LGBT community and saying keep up the good fight on the corner flag that he kind of chopped down with his slide into it. And it was an outrage. It was a major outrage, and he then had to backtrack on that. Now, look, I don't know why he did that. Maybe he didn't do it because he disagreed with LGBT ideology, and maybe he was just really happy and he just felt like sliding into the corner flag. But again, whatever the reason was, it had to be made clear. He had to make it clear that he didn't do that because he has any problem with the ideology. So I just wanted to raise that topic briefly here because it's... Who'd have thought, again, as I said before, who'd have thought that we would be having this in something as simple as sport? It's a sports game. It's, in this case in football or soccer for US fans, it's 2 teams of 11 playing against each other, trying to get the ball into the other goal. And the one who does it more wins the match. But no, that's not enough. We must have ideology seeped into that as well, into the heart of sports. And with the World Cup coming up, supposedly the England captain, for instance, Harry Kane, he said that he's going to wear the pride the pride armband, as he's on his arm. FIFA, I think at the time of making this video, is still deciding whether they're going to allow players to do that, because generally footballing bodies don't allow sort of political and ideological messaging. Sometimes players will raise their shirts and show a message here, often a political one, and they say, no, we don't allow any of that. Football is a neutral sport. We don't get involved in that stuff. And yet these players doing this, having these rainbow armbands or having rainbow laces, are kind of pretty much getting into ideology. So FIFA are in a tricky place because they've taken a lot of money from Qatar to let them host the World Cup, and Qatar are very much against these LGBT things. So now FIFA are deciding whether to tell countries that your captain cannot be wearing an LGBT armband. But Harry Kane, the captain of the England team, has, I think, already said that he's going to wear it anyway, even if they're told that they can't wear it. And what I foresee, if whether they can wear it or not, if some of these captains of these countries decide to wear these armbands and they go out onto the pitch in Qatar, and then you hear a chorus of booing from fans, because there's probably going to be a lot of Qatari people at these stadiums watching these games, as well as fans coming in from other countries. So there's going to be probably a lot of booing if they see a player wearing the LGBT armband, and that's going to make these guys look like quote-unquote martyrs. Here we are standing up for these important issues, and even though we're getting booed and hounded and hassled, we're still going to do it, and we're going to fight the good fight because this is the thing that's right. So they'll still look like, as I said, martyrs, even though they're not. And there we are. And that's what I suspect will happen, because there will be people from Qatar who do not like this. I mean, it's almost like coming into someone's house and disrespecting their rules, if that's what you're going to do. And there will probably be fans from other countries who come to watch their teams, like Polish fans, Serbian fans, Croatian fans. And if they see this happening, they might boo it as well, just like we've had booing of the taking the knee sometimes, and that's been just caused a great outrage, because these people have been some teams for a very long time have been taking the knee in support of BLM for ages now, it seems, and other fans they don't agree with that ideology, with that movement, and so they boo it, and they also feel like it doesn't have a place in football, because again, it's an ideological thing. But we'll see. If you're still watching this video before the World Cup has taken place, we shall see what happens there. It's going to be interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about it. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, folks, and please do come back again.